Hey guys, this is Rachel Feldman. So happy to be with all of you. If somebody could just tell me that they could hear me, that would be awesome. I always like to make sure that you can hear me and that we are recording and that we are good to go. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, it is wonderful to be with you guys. Let's just get right into our presentation tonight. So this is one of my favorite topics, and I'm going to just briefly tell you why. So often we hear online, and I am such a lover of online. We all know that. I love selling online programs. I remember the first time that I saw on my, I think it was a BlackBerry, I saw on my BlackBerry a PayPal invoice come in and it said, you have, I think it was at the time like $87, and $87 had come into my account, and it was my first passive income program that I sold. And it was the first detox that I sold many years ago, and I was so excited. And I remember turning to my husband and I said, this is what it's all about. I sold my first program. And that was really my first taste of online success. So we, as I said, as health coaches, we always hear, I want to build an online business. I want to build an online presence. But that is not how I started my business. And it's not how the majority of health coaches begin their career. I always say you need a healthy balance of online, offline, passive income, and active income. I believe that those are the four foundation pillars, if you want to say, of a business and a healthy business, no matter what business you're in. But as a health coach, I think that, we all strive for that. So I built my business, though, in my one-on-one practice. I did build it with visibility online. And just if you don't know about me, I became a health coach. I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We had lost, I'll give you just the real short story. If you want the longer story, feel free to go to my site at www.rachelswellness.com. But the short story is that I decided to become a health coach. I thought that it would be really easy because I knew everyone in Philadelphia where I'd grown up, always. And before I graduated, my husband, his business had crashed and burned. It was about 5 months before I graduated from the Institute for Integrated Nutrition. And we made a big decision, which was, a big lifestyle decision. And we said, you know what? We own our house. Luckily, we had made a really smart financial move since we had, we knew that we needed to sell our house to live financially. And I was out of commercial real estate for one of the first times and, not working and have two little kids. And so we decided to sell our house and move to Florida. So I had moved to Florida where I knew nobody. And so I had two little kids under the age of 4. The reason that I started to build myself online was because I didn't know anybody. And my kids also were so little. I had one little kid at home, Sammy. And so I had to actually build my presence online. And that meant even blogging. I had to blog. I had to actually create YouTube videos. Also because I was scared of speaking in public. So for some of you, you're really comfortable doing groups. You were really comfortable. Maybe your dream was like, oh my God, I'm going to do a Sugar Blues talk. I'm going to do an event. Many of you sell products, Beachbody or Asana, doTERRA, or, you name it. For me, I was the opposite. I was like, I'm scared to speak in public. I had a fear of speaking in public. I'm more of an introvert, even though I don't appear that way on social media. And so for me, I wanted to cultivate my one-on-one practice. But I knew that I still needed to cultivate that with visibility. So when you hear people talk about online presence, that doesn't just mean that you're running solely an online business. And I want people to really hear that, because when you see people crushing it. Or you see people online, and there are people who crush it and make like 5-6 figures in 1 year. That is not the, most common thing. I see more on average people who go slow and steady, build up, in that first year, and really cultivate that one-on-one business and build an online presence, and have a little of a rougher start and find their way and try to figure out that system in the beginning. And that was the case for me. There are other coaches, that I talk to almost on a daily basis that have bought either every course out there, gone to every school, have every certification, like 25 more than myself. I have amazing credentials, have bought every done for you program from myself as well as every other person out there. And they're not making anything. So what I want to talk to you about tonight is another way to work your business. Because for some of you, it doesn't mean that you can't have a thriving online business, but it may be that you're either approaching it in a way that isn't working, or B, maybe you just need to cultivate that online presence more, and you do need to go into your backyard. I was in commercial real estate for many, many years. Loved being in commercial real estate. And one of the things that my manager, Jeff, used to say every Monday morning is go into your backyard, sell what you know. And I sold commercial real estate in the city of Philly because that's where I grew up. Those were the buildings I looked at every day of my life. I walked down Market Street, walked down the city. And so I sold what was in my backyard. And so it's the same thing, with health coaching. Go into your local area. So it's not that you're selling in your backyard, but get to know your community. So yes, just a little about me. I'm a health coach. I've been a health coach for 7 years. I graduated been a health coach for 7 years. I'm a business coach, detox specialist. I went to, I think, about 4 different schools. I'm a business coach twice. I'm a proud mama and a wife. My 2 kids are definitely, and my husband are a huge inspiration for me. I'm the creator of the Done For You programs. That happened organically because 4 years ago, when I was feeling completely overwhelmed by grabbing recipes from Donna Gates and Josh Axe and Alana's Pantry and trying to create recipes for my clients and session notes. And, I just was trying to figure out my system. I finally put together the first detox program for my clients, which was really just a clean eating system based on the work of Liz Lipsky, who I so respect, John Douillard, Paul Pitchford, Kim Schneider, the list goes on of the people that I completely admire. And that was really when my business started blowing up because I had a system. And another coach said to me, will you sell this detox? And that was really the birth of the Done For You programs, was that organic. So what are we going to learn tonight? We are going to rap about how to go offline with a different marketing approach, and how to go local, how to go old school with brochures, those old brochures, flyers, but also how your flyers don't have to be done in this way where you're spending tons and tons of money, because that's how brochures and flyers used to be. You would spend a ton of money and you'd have to pay a designer. And if you go on Upwork, and I always talk about this, I actually see my assistant Jessica on the webinar tonight. She's so cute. I always tell her, go get rest, but she's on the webinar. We always talk about rates, and I think it's, go on Upwork. Fiverr is a little different, but go on Upwork, go even on, Freedom Hackers, or go on, some of these, forums and look at what people charge. On average, a virtual assistant is between $35 to $50 to get a nice flyer done, with really good design is, on average between 50 to 75. If you're having somebody even do an ebook, like a really nice ebook cover, some people even charge $150. So I want to talk about how to just make it simplified. so that you're not spending a crap load of money, because most of you are solo entrepreneurs. I didn't have a virtual assistant until 3.25 years into my business. Honestly, I don't even think I knew they really existed. So I want to talk about how to make it simplified and how to also ditch this whole like sales page mayhem and still market a program and reach out. For any of you, which you all did sign up, and if you're listening to this now or listening to this later, Jessica put together a great prospecting sheet. So we're also going to talk about that and how to reach out to local vendors. So launching your biz, no matter what. I had interviewed Rebecca Tracy a while back, and one of the things that we said, that we talked about is offering these 250-minute session days kind of are over. When you just sit there and you say like, here, 250-minute sessions, and I'm going to give you handouts, and I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, those kind of days, I believe, are dead, which is why I think the more that you can, put together this great, beautiful offline package, and that means really making your work with me shine. I think that you have a home run, which is why many of you have opt-in freebies. Many of you have extra handouts. Many of you have done for you programs. You really want to make sure that on your Work With Me page, you are positioning them right, which is why when you go offline, and this is actually me, I had been asked to do a event. It was like all these different vendors, and somebody had asked if I would come and juice like 15 different combinations. So I literally came with all these different vegetables from a farm, and this is just a great tip. So start to, number one, think locally, 5 different people that you can align yourself with. And this is just think about like a local farm. For me, the farm is Bednar's. So I made great relationships with a few different local farms. It was one of the reasons that I became one of the people to be asked when Jamie Oliver came with his food revolution. I was asked why. And it's not that I have this like special Harvard switch or that I'm really cute or anything. It's that I had visibility. And how did I have visibility? And this is where I go back to the online. It's that consistently and daily I post on social media. Consistently, I blog 2 times a week. So I always talk about what are the pillars of your business. They are the same things no matter who you are, whether you're Nisha Moodley, Holly Thompson, Mark Hyman, it is no different, JJ Virgin. These are the same principles, whether you have 0 clients to whether you have 500,000 clients. You are going to get asked and approached, or you are going to approach other people. So this happened to be a local, vendor fair that somebody said, hey, I want to know if you can come and do this. This opportunity came to me also because, and I'm going to back this up, because when I first moved to Florida, I went and I took a flyer. Now, if you are on my email list, we sent flyers to you guys just the other day. One was the benefits of a health coach, and another was just a flyer like join my program. Whenever I also gave tips on how to post a flyer. I posted them at Panera. I posted them at my kids' little gym at the time they were really little. But I posted them anywhere that there was a pin board. There was also a few natural health food stores, juice places, any place that had a little business card. And at that time, I had really crappy business cards. Moo.com was not out. They have beautifully designed templates for business cards, but I would just put a flyer and a business card everywhere. And I would go in, and being an introvert, I was very nervous, but I would go in and I would say, can I meet the owner? Can I talk to the owner? So one of the places in Florida is called the Salt Suite. And it's this great place. If you've ever been on my Facebook page and seen, I used to take my kids there all the time. It's this place that if you have like allergies or chest, colds or histamine allergies, all that kind of stuff, you can go in there and you can get alkalized and mineralized. And so I would take the kids in there, and there was this little salt place, and I went in and I said, I would love to do some, presentations here for free. I would love to talk about the benefits of detoxing and how and this is very key, because this is key when you pitch to anybody, whether you're pitching to a health food store, whether you're pitching to a juice place, whether you're pitching to a chiropractor's office. So this is key when you're thinking about your prospect sheet. It's not just about what you're doing, it's about how does it benefit them. So when I went in and pitched to the Salt Suite, I said, I would like to do a free talk about the benefits of detoxification and skin health, because that is the majority of people who would go in there had skin issues. I also said I want to talk about the benefits of detoxification and how it improves, allergies. So I gave them 3 subjects that were helpful for them as a business, because that was their target market. Now, yes, did it apply to my niche? But I could have talked about detox and weight loss. I could have talked about anything, but I wanted to apply to their niche. So when you're going offline and you are going and approaching, approaching different prospects or vendors, really think about them. It's the same thing if you're pitching, to a magazine or pitching to a newspaper, even a podcast. That's about offline, and online, and that's a totally different webinar. But again, think about your pitch, what is it going to benefit them? Same thing when I went and talked to Bednar's and I said to them, hey, I would love to come and do a workshop here. Can I do a workshop and talk about the benefits of, of buying local and not going to the big chain, markets around here. We won't mention them. Even though, they're great and I do shop at them too, but the benefits of buying local, what you guys are about, how you spray naturally. And I became close with them. I shopped there. I went in there with my kids. My kids got to know them and they said yes. It also was really beneficial because when my kids were in Montessori, I was able to call them up and say, hey, would you also, donate to my kids' school? So I had a great relationship with them. So what ended up happening is they would call me and say, hey, Rach, would you be able to come and do events? Again, this led me, with the Salt Suite, this one person said, who I met at the Salt Suite event, led me to this event. The other person at Bednar's led me to the Jamie Oliver event because she actually ended up seeing a flyer and talked to the owner and said, Rachel is just really, really nice. She's so giving. She comes in here with her kids. She really walks she didn't say walk and talk, but she said, she really is about living this life and supporting us. And she always supports us. And she's always outside telling people how great we are. So market yourself locally, really print out flyers. I'm going to show you even a flyer, later in this. Flyers can be done on PowerPoint. It is so easy. You don't even have to do it on Word. Like I said, if you're not on the email list or you didn't get the email last week, please, go back or just tag me after this because I can shoot it to you again. Because they're so important to have a flyer up. And next to that flyer, put your business card. You can also go old school, and I did this so many times. You know how babysitters used to have those little pull off stickets that said, here, grab this. You can even say, look, I'm hosting this event at my house. I have, for the 15 people who, pull off this tab and contact me, I will be giving 30-minute free strategy sessions. Again, health histories. So there are ways to promote yourself instead of just having something that says, I help people with customized plans. I help people to lose weight. Like people are so overrun with, that kind of language. Make it fun, make it interesting. If I saw something like that and saw like a little pull stick it thing, I would definitely take that. Or if I saw, something that was colorful and fun and something that I knew I would get for free, I would definitely call that person and follow up. So Chris is asking, local events with food that you prepare on site, do you have a disclaimer, follow-up regulations, reliability? Chris, that is also dependent on state. It's also dependent whenever I'm prepping food, like this juice, when I was doing juices right here, some people, you can have a disclaimer right there saying, the food prepped right here, was prepped by me. And if you have allergies, or I always put a disclaimer with everything. If you are prepping and selling food, there are certain legality issues for that, without a doubt, state to state. But often at certain fairs and most local events like that, if you're making just for like taste, not for like prep and not for selling, usually that is allowed. It just, again, it just depends. In this situation, it was, and they had permits for that and stuff. So I would always check with the people that you're working with and ask that. I always like to just tell people, what I'm using. Also tell people with allergies. So, make sure no matter what you do, though, that you're following food regulations state to state. They always differ state to state as well. Book events locally. And that means, think about the people that you support: massage therapists, acupuncturists, chiropractor, even doctors. The doctor that I go to, she is so awesome. We've talked so many times, about doing an event together. I've worked with the chiropractor that is down the street. We did an event together. I did an event, with 4 different yoga studios. I've done events with a massage therapist. I've done events with acupuncturist. There are so many ways to collaborate and do events where it doesn't just have to be about health coaching. I've done events in collaborations with gyms, moms groups. So don't, think outside of the box when you think about, going offline. Some can be paid. Some can be, for free. And again, a lot about health coaching is, thinking about building your list. I've done corporate events as well, lunch meetings where I go in, and my favorite is to do a food diary. People are shocked and blown away. I give a food diary and I say, okay, guys, we're just going to go over the food diary. They all want to know, what should I eat? What should I not eat? I'm like, that's not my job, actually. Let's go over the food diary. What did you actually eat today? And people are shocked when they actually write down. So make it interactive, make it fun, always have a sign-up sheet, and make sure that you're giving something for people to sign up, because that's where the sales conversation starts. The sales conversation doesn't just start the moment that you open your mouth. It actually starts in that follow-up. That is where the trust building begins. So when you follow up with, an opt-in freebie, a free gift, then follow up a week later. If you're selling a program, that week later might be, hey, did you read, or how was it, or it was great to meet you. Don't send a mass email. Maybe if you're speaking to 50 or 100 people, okay. But if you spoke to 15, take the time. I always say, and this is really, I believe, the theme of 2016. It's take the time. If that that 2 minutes to send a personal email to somebody could equate to a one-on-one client, and let's just say hypothetically you charge $150 dollars an hour, and let's say you took 5 minutes out of your time, and 5 minutes is worth X dollars for you. that was pretty much worth it. So maybe you had to send 15 emails, and 15 emails times 5 minutes, took you 30 to 35 minutes. I think that's pretty much worth your time. People remember those kind of things. So find where there are local meetups in your community. Get to be known. I found local juice places. I mean, there were times I would put Sammy in the car. She would be on my hip. I would go into juice places. I would talk to the owners, and this is how I started to build my business. Pay small fees for tables. I mean, a lot of tables you can get, especially if your kids are in school. PTA. PTA loves to have tables. So you can have a table that's specific, especially if you do have a program. You can, I used to print out different aspects of my program and put them in little, cute photo frames and testimonials in photo frames. Some people don't like to buy whole programs, but they like to buy recipe guides. So, that again becomes what I call the lead magnet. That's still going offline because you're face to face with somebody, and you can sign somebody right up there for a strategy session. That becomes your health history. That leads to a one-on-one or a group. That might even lead to a pantry session. I became friends with a group of moms. They all were like, "Oh my God, Rachel, do your kids eat potato chips?" I was like, yeah, they just eat the healthy versions. And so everyone was always looking in my diaper bag and blown away by the snacks that I had. They were just healthy versions. So I got hired by so many families to come in and clean sweep their house. I would go to them with to the market. Then I would go home. Then I would help to plan out the kids' lunches. I mean, all these different things. I also got well known because I live in Florida in the elderly community. So once word gets out locally that you're known for, doing what you do, the elderly are like, wow, she's really good at helping me to go to the bathroom. And people love that, I could come into their home and help them to figure out like what foods, were easy to digest, help their support, sit down with them and their support and really talk to them. So, really think about how you can improve your visibility offline, and get out from just sitting behind the computer. So yes, Chris is saying you have some upcoming lunch and learns where I'm doing demos. Yeah, I mean, Chris, especially if it's just lunch and learn places, most of them, again, each state has their own different rules, but I love it lunch and learns. And I did this actually at a bunch of different flywheels. I love doing like healthy trail mixes. I used to work with a lot of athletes. And so refueling, or busy moms, or, people like me who are really on the go. I love just showing, even demonstrating like how to make a protein ball, like in less than 5 minutes. So I always like, my favorite one is, I'm going to save you $8 instead of going and buying a protein ball or a protein bar. And I'm going to show you how to make one. And I would also just show different variations of trail mixes. So I think it's really great when people see interactive stuff like that. And then you can give a handout on how you actually made that. So they have something from you. They have your information. It's a takeaway, but make them also sign up for your upgraded version of that takeaway. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so go offline. Use one digital product. And again, going offline, you can use a digital product, but you can still showcase that offline. So at a vendor, at a table. And again, going offline means that you can still take any program. People would always say, oh, well, the done for you programs, or Rachel, how did you partner with gyms? And I was like, I took the done for you programs and I changed them, but I just did them live. And doing them live, I actually had at one point a group of women in my office that would just come, and they all were doing the same program. And that's my favorite way to do them. So think about how, for most of you or some of you, you maybe do best when it's that live interaction. Some of you do retreats. Some of you do groups. So you can actually take that digital product, send it to somebody digitally, or, print out maybe just a part of it that you want to be covering in that, in that live session, and send it to people, but meet, live for, every 2 weeks, if it's like an 8-week session, session, or meet every, other week if it's a 2-week. You can also use your programs, or any of the materials that many of you have, to also add to your work with me. This is what I was talking about before, that 2 50-minute session and handouts. That's just not cutting it anymore. People want to come to your page and you want them to stay there. You want them to be intrigued by what you're offering. So what is your system? How can you want somebody to say, wow, yes, I want to click contact me. I'm really intrigued. I know when I go to hire somebody, and I'm right now, in interviewing for a position, I go and I'm looking at, 6 different websites. I'm reading their work with me. I'm reading everything on their site. So it's got to be compelling. It's got to make me want to stay. I want to read the testimonials. I want to, and if that website doesn't have me pulled in, I'm not going to stay there. So you want your work with me to give me insight into a taste of what is it going to be like if I hire you. Which is why, think about like what program can you add. Also, VIP days. It's a great way offline to be working. Pantry makeovers, shopping tours. They are my favorite. Some of my best sessions, and I can think of one of my clients that I had for a while. Our whole session was shopping, and it was the most fun. And I also did this even with some, I forget what foundation I was working with, where that's what they had me come and do, just shopping tours. You'd be so surprised. We take for granted the fact that we think people know how to read labels, and they really don't. It's our job as health coaches to educate. And so reading labels and showing, that just because it's on TV and says it's healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for everyone. That's why I'm such a believer of the food diary. So you could also cook with your clients, get your client into their own kitchen, cook with them, and go offline. These are so many ways to bring your programs or your work offline. So ways to go offline. Introduce yourself, of course, to a local gym. And this goes back to your prospecting sheet. So when you think about your prospecting sheet, think about, 5-10 people. This is what, we talked about when we all first graduated from school. But in business, when I was in commercial real estate and in other businesses, they would always say, write down 50 to 100 people that and it's the same thing. Write down, 5 to 10 people that you could today or next week contact. And there may be fear. There may be, a feeling of being uncomfortable. But, that is part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's a state of uncomfortableness that we have to approach. But it is that belief that, wow, I really do have something great to offer, and a belief in self. Business mindset is a huge aspect of owning a business. So it's going into the gym and really being clear and like, wow, I really have something to offer. And this is, I do weight loss in a completely different way than just everyone else. Or I really believe this is going to benefit your spa, and this is what I want to talk to you about. You can also go to your spa and say, you know what, I have, this great weight loss program for brides to be, or, come up with something that's outside the box. It's different and fun. Especially with summer coming, there's so many different opportunities. Everyone wants to get their body back. So really think about, especially for some of you who are in fitness, think about little, body boot camps that you can do that are fun ways to go offline, and, beach boot camps that you can charge even like, 70, or even a yoga boot camp where you do yoga and, do a program as well. The whole idea is to get people into working with you. And, sometimes it isn't just that 6 month that somebody wants to sign up. Most people, there is kind of that gateway that they have to kind of get used to working with you. At least that has been my experience. Doctor's office referrals, so often doctors do not have the time. So if you can get into a doctor's office and really, especially your own doctor, get in it, get clear with them on what you are going to offer, that you're not, of course, going to, cross a boundary that you shouldn't cross, that you are a coach and that you're going to stay within what a coach can do. But that it's great to work in collaboration with them, because they can do what they do and you can do what you do, which is to, coach on lifestyle changes and stress and the things that we get to really focus on. So community workshops, doing PowerPoints, turning them into classes, charging $25 to $30 a person. So many people want to do a smoothie class, learn how to make meals in, 15 minutes, natural health food stores, grocery shopping tours, as I said, and promoting their products, local juice bars, you bring the recipes, they do the juice cleanse, and then you snag the clients, mommy groups, paleo gyms, CrossFit. I mean, there's so many ways to build your list, and also to approach them. If you do have a program and you're approaching a gym, it's often, or another vendor, it's often a 70-30 split. I always say, it's very important to sit down and have that conversation. If you own the program and the rights, make somebody sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Make sure that you're very clear on like who's doing the marketing. The same thing when I worked with, with the gym or the yoga, or any of the places that I partnered with. I always had that clear conversation, not in the beginning of my business because I was a little nervous to do that. But as I got, more confidence and realized, no, that's the right thing to do. It creates clear boundaries, being very clear and saying, okay, great, I'm going to keep 70, you do 30. Sometimes it's a 60-40 if they're doing more marketing, lots of marketing for you. But it's about, longevity of relationship. They're getting something, they're getting promotion, you're promoting them. Maybe you're doing live stream about them, blogging about them. And so really it's a win-win. And again, this is about building your reputation, and getting, yourself out there in different ways. So I always say, whether you want to think of this offline or online, your offline, getting out there should really be about one-on-one clients. And so even if you had an online program sitting on your site, that should be the same program that you're working in your offline business, so that you're not recreating the wheel. That program that's sitting on your site just creates visibility for you. Even if you're not focusing your, entire business as an online coach, it creates visibility. So workshops, this is what I love about workshops. Let's just say, and this, I just pulled a flyer from before. So use flyers to promote online. This is a flyer that was made just in PowerPoint. And all that I did was to add a photo on the back, add an overlay. You can do them easily in Canva too. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. You could even do a flyer in PicMonkey. But if you do a flyer like this, one in PowerPoint, it can be saved as PDF. That could be printed. That could be put on a table, in a nice event table. And then that PDF can be saved as a JPEG. So you can multi-purpose the PowerPoint so that you can reuse, change. The PDF could be printed out, whether at home, Office Max, or anything. And then that could actually be saved as a JPEG and then repurposed on Facebook or on Instagram or social media. And I'm actually going to show you right when we're at the end of this Canva, because it's just so cool how you can make flyers, and it's really wicked easy. And that's what I'm all about. Canva has just made it super simple for people. You know, as I said, designers can cost a lot of money. And when you're, trying to make things cost efficient, especially if you've bought programs, you've bought courses, and trying to, make it as a coach, it's really important to know where you can, cut costs. You want things to look beautiful, but, if you have a flyer and you're doing something last minute and you're trying to get it done, you want to be empowered, bottom line. And when you're prospecting, what to bring, I get, this a lot from people. So if you're prospecting and you're going to somebody, people always say, okay, I got this opportunity, and somebody wants me to bring to them, what I'm going to be offering. So number one, I mean, this is my bio from HuffPost, but if you want to bring your proposal, you want to bring what you're going to offer. I like to bring a bio as well. I like to bring, what is the offer for them? So if the offer, let's just say hypothetically that you're going to, be going to a chiropractor, and you want to say, what, I want to do a workshop, and I want it to be about how to reduce sugar cravings, so that you can feel, so that you can have more energy and not like reach for, coffee all day, something, or just say, we can just say beat the sugar blues, whatever the name is. Say, the workshop will be an hour long. The handouts will be, 2 handouts on how to beat sugar cravings and foods that, let's just say benefit adrenals. And then you can say, I will also be giving to people who sign up, for my list, a special, ebook on, foods to, boost energy levels. And then you say, another opportunity, and in this proposal, you can say another opportunity is we can do an event plus a program. So you can say to that chiropractor, whoever this is, we can do the event. And at the event, at the end, we can say, you know what? We can also sell a 14-day program, and that program can cost $97. And that program, will last for 14 days, and we'll meet twice. And for anybody that signs up that day, they're also going to get, a 20-minute, session with me specifically. So you can give that proposal and make it very clear on exactly what they're going to be getting. When you're using your prospecting sheet, sometimes that first prospect could be a phone call, it could be an email, anything. Write down on your prospect sheet what it is, what you emailed. Sometimes you might even want to keep that prospecting sheet or the emails as what we call canned response, so that you're not reinventing the wheel. Again, the whole idea about this when it comes to building your business is what I call rinse and spin. It's kind of what we even cover like in launching. The more that you get into what we call the rinse and spin process, the easier it is to launch, so that when you're launching, you're like, oh yeah, Rachel talked about the 2 and 2 method. Okay, I'm going to do the 2 and 2 method. Okay, no problem. When I talked about the prospecting sheet, I need a canned response. So even though you're going to change that response, so then when you go back, you're not reinventing the wheel. Same thing is kind of even for a blog post, for a newsletter, for, a Facebook invite, you'll start to see as you evolve your business or a flyer or anything that, yes, you want to change things up, but there's usually a kind of system and a flow. Times do change, as I'm sure many of you see. What worked marketing wise, maybe even 6 months, maybe doesn't work now. Probably won't work in 6 months. Things always change, but there is still a consistent flow and methodology that we all want to have so that we don't feel crazy and pull our hair out, especially when we're trying to manage our life, take care of our family, and run our business. So this is your vault, I always say. This is what you want to live by, no matter what. Always think of this. Free offer, discovery session, one-on-one, online or offline, group coaching, VIP, your ultimate package. This should be like tattooed in your brain. So I have this in my office on my whiteboard, and I always think of this just even in a health history. The sales conversation starts at the free offer. The sales conversation even starts when somebody signs up, even when you signed up for the webinar. You're like, I'm going to hear Rachel. What is she going to say? What is that free offer? You got a webinar and a prospecting sheet. Some of you even sign up for a discovery session because you said, wow, okay, she really makes sense to me. Some of you have come to one-on-one sessions with me because you vibe with the kind of system and methodology that I work with. Some of you have bought online or offline programs. Some of you have done masterminds and healthy hustles with me and group coaching. Some of you have done VIP days. Some of you have done ultimate packages with me. This should be your vault, and this should be how you always think. People say, how did you close health histories? And that is going to be another webinar that we do. But health histories is about knowing your vault. It's about knowing what you offer. And not necessarily that often opt-in freebie, clearly, but it's about when somebody gets on the phone with you, what is your system? So that you really can, and it's not about closing somebody, it's just about knowing really how can you bring them into your one-on-one. And some people, and the reason why I created actually offline programs was that some people couldn't afford my one-on-one, but they still wanted to work with me. And some people will never actually want to do one-on-one because they just love the synergy of offline of online programs. They're just I call them online groupie program people. They love that. They love being in a group and pictures and sharing. That's what they enjoy. But know what type of coach you are and know that both have to be evolving. And I say this very clearly. I always look and I have a very clear calendar, just like, today I was like, didn't Periscope. So I put myself Periscope. And I was like, didn't live stream, didn't blog. So, always know that you have to be visible. And it doesn't mean you have to master every platform, but there has to be that online visibility to build your offline practice. And is that very clear for everyone? I just want to make sure that I'm hitting home with that because it's making sure that you're locally known, but it's also making sure that you have that online visibility that feeds into search engine optimization. So if somebody's Googling, because your Facebook business page, especially live stream, feeds into search engine optimization. So if somebody's Googling and they're like, oh, health coach, or they're Googling, weight loss program, or they're Googling like how to, make almond milk, all the things. You want to be that person that they find the blog. So they go, oh, wow, who's this person? Let me go find this, because that's how people found me. They were like, wow, I found a YouTube video. That's online. Wow, I found your blog online. But what did they become? They became offline clients. So this is a very clear distinction I wanted to make tonight, because many people think I'm just this online coach, and that is not the case. I had a huge, and still to this day, have a thriving one-on-one. And my one-on-one is so important to me, because that is what fuels me. The Done For You programs, I love, 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 and I love that community. But one-on-one interaction for me is so important. So Naomi, hey Naomi, it's great to see you. Oh, and Ashley, I'm so happy that you got on. I saw that the broken link was, that it was broken. And thank you for letting me know. Naomi is asking, when meeting with an online business, what materials do you recommend we bring with us? A bio, a brochure? That is a great question. So I think that bringing a bio, bringing what you want to offer, bringing a flyer, bringing a brochure. I mean, a trifold brochure, that we're talking kind of old school. I think a brochure, if you wanted to, could just be a flyer. I mean, brochure these days, you can make one easily, on Mac. They're so, Pages even, it's so easy to make. But I think like a brochure can be easily made if you're talking about like your program or what it has. But I think often if you're talking about showing them a program, I like to even print out a few pages of the materials. So if I was saying to somebody, for example, when I worked with like a CrossFit gym, and I said, look, I've got this grain-free program. Like, you guys are all down with, grain-free, and you're trying to pull all these programs. Like, why don't we just do a program that's like more branded for you guys?